Okay, we'll call this meeting to order and welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and do roll call.
All right, Tony Doan.
Here.
Meg Haley. Quinn Guy. I see you, Quinn.
Okay, didn't hear you. Yeah, here.
Mike Six.
Here.
Dave Kokot.
Here.
Ricky Campbell. Ken Burlett.
Here.
Chris Seaman.
Here.
Corey Thomas.
Here.
Matthew Campbell. Paul Clark.
Here.
Zach Tuck.
Here.
Kevin Marr. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 12.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public that would like to be recognized?
Yeah, this is Matt Kosonen with Suppression Systems.
Welcome, Matt.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Matt, what was your last name? I'm sorry.
It's Kosonen, Kosonen.
I got you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to be recognized? Okay, excellent. Well, welcome everyone. Let's jump into our agenda. Let's go to item number 2, review and approve. Unless there's any recommendations to adjust, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Dave and a second from Chris. Discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Any against? Okay, motion carries. Let's go to agenda item number 3, which is to review the minutes from our last meeting. Go ahead and take a scroll through those, and if anyone has any changes, go ahead and we'll note those. Otherwise, looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Dave.
Second.
Thank you, Quinn. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
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 Any against? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 4, we have review code change proposals. So let's jump back into our proposals. And right now, it looks like, Ken, are we wanting to go with the Sound Transit? Is that...
Oh, yes, please. Yeah, because we made sure Mark was here so he can run through his.
What number is that? I'm sorry. Do you remember what log number that is?
What? It's the one that Mark probably sent you special yesterday, right?
He did. I just want to make sure that I know which one it is on the log sheet, so when I get ready to cross-reference everything. Trying to look at names.
68.
58?
Yeah, Kim Williams is the proponent.
Oh, Ken, okay.
Kim Williams.
Kim. Yeah, is it 68?
I don't even have a 58 on my list.
68.
Oh, 68. Okay. All right.
Or is this 75?
There are 2.
Yeah, we have 68 and 75 are the 2 from Kim.
Okay. So would you want to do the egress or the fire protection?
Mark, we'll leave that up to you. What route you want to go?
Let's start with fire protection.
So that would be 68.
So it's been about a month since we talked about this last, and the feedback provided was to clean up the clutter from some of the material that's provided for context for the tag, and change the formatting for the adoption and revision of NFPA 130 language so that it aligned with what is the standard practice for adopting and amending a standard in the building code. And I think the reference that was discussed last time was building code chapter 19. There was a similar adoption of I think it was a structural standard, an amendment. And so what I did is I applied that approach, numbering scheme, to this proposal, and I highlighted in yellow the main changes of those headers. And because there are two proposals that we put forward, this one has 4001.1 through 4001.5, I believe. So all that would appear in chapter 40. And the other proposal that's means of egress, I started the numbering at 4001.6, so it would just be sequential. So together those will populate that chapter and really talk specifically about adoption and amendment of NFPA 130.
Mark, did this go through the building already? Last week?
Yeah, the two proposals went to the building code tag about 6 weeks ago. They were both discussed and they were approved as modified. They didn't request that the numbering scheme be revised like this. I have made revision to both of the building code proposals to mirror this numbering modification, and I can provide those if there's a need to do that.
Yeah, I might reach out to you just to make sure we're correlated correctly.
Yeah.
Ray, I gave them a heads up too.
Oh.
Yeah, I let them know what the fire tag was thinking, and that there are not substantive changes coming, but renumbering. And then once they realized that that was the idea, they were like, "Oh yeah, that makes total sense."
Okay, because we're gonna move it to like 49, right? Isn't that what we talked about?
I think so, and just the manner in which numbering was going to be consistent with that structural chapter was something that they were all like, "That makes total sense. That's a better way to number it."
Perfect. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, we'll open it up for discussion. And Kim, I see you've joined us, so if you have anything to add, feel free.
Appreciate it. I don't have anything to add. Mark has us in capable hands, so I trust him to say all the right words.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So is there anything?
My only comment is Ray, do you want to just type in the 49 throughout the document just so
you see it?
Yeah, just so we see it and we know that's what we're approving so we don't mess it up.
I suppose.
So I understand the idea is to have this in the same chapter in both the building code and the fire code. Is that the idea of going to 49?
Yeah. First, there's already a chapter 40 for distilled spirits now in the 21 code. So we had to renumber this anyways. But
okay.
And we don't want to do it again. That's why the 49. So when the next new chapter gets added.
Because we renumbered this last code cycle too, didn't we? To 40?
Yeah, I think so. So the idea is to hopefully let it park for at least a few cycles.
All right, I think I got them all. I'll make it if you got it. Oh, here we go. Got it.
There's one in the accept. There you go.
I think we got them.
Okay, excellent. Okay, unless there's further discussion, then we're looking for a motion to push this to the BFP committee.
Well, Cred, I'll make a motion. Let's move what was presented to move it into our new chapter 49.
Okay, we have a motion from Ken.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dave. Second from Dave. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
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 Any against? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Kim, for being here. All right. And we have one more, right, that we're going to go over for that? So,
that's correct. Pretty much the same idea. I did clean this one up a little bit, remove some of the context, and then basically revise the bottom section to continue on with the numbering. I guess starting at 0.7. And on this one, there's about 10 amendments. So you'll see at the bottom where it's highlighted in yellow, the renumbering scheme that aligns with the best practice.
Mark, are these highlighted sections just what you've changed from the original proposal?
That's correct.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that anything I changed from before is highlighted, and there you go. I added one word there, approved in that section to align with a modification that we made on the fly with the IBC.
Okay. All right. Did anybody want to look at these, or can I just keep going through and changing numbers?
I have a stupid question here. What's the asterisk for?
Where's it at? Oh, right here.
Quinn,
Yeah,
it means that there is appendices
Okay.
related to it in the NFPA section, I believe. Is that what straight copied over, Mark?
That's right.
Okay. I just thought it was something added. So, all right.
hey, Ray, will you go to 10051 right past the offload table?
1005.
Yeah, just scroll up in that document, unless that's changed. Let me see. I may have the old one on. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's some references to the 4001 there, and then in 100621, number 4, there's also a reference to 4001. Oh, you got that one. Okay, thanks, Rick.
There's another one in the table on the occupant load factors. I think that's up near the top. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. I'll do a search before I do a final draft on this. Make sure. Because believe it or not, I do mess up a lot.
Okay. Is discussion on this, or do we want to take a look at anything specifically with the document in front of us? Do we want to go through some of that? Okay, not hearing any discussion or questions on this, so we are looking for a motion to push this to the BFP committee.
I'll do it again. So move to move forward to the BFP committee these proposed changes.
Thank you, Ken.
Second.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
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 Any against? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. And thanks again to Sound Transit for the work you guys put into that. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great work, guys.
Thank you.
Mark gets all the credit for this effort for leading us through to the.
Yeah, and let us know if there's anything we need to do to, follow through on the numbering change for the IDC. I've done, most of the work already, so I'm happy to submit that if it's helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll work with John, and we'll make sure that everything's lined up. And yeah, if we need you, we'll absolutely reach out.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ray. Appreciate your help.
Yeah.
And you too, Ken. Really appreciate your guidance on this.
Same, Mark. Appreciate it.
We'll probably screw you up when we try to adopt it in Seattle. Mess it all up.
Right? Yeah.
Great.
Applause.
Appreciate your honesty.
All right. Well, I'm going to bail off then unless you guys need us further.
Right.
Okay, no, I don't think so. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Okay, so
we kind of talked about this one, right? We're gonna hold off on this one to the last meeting. 33, Tony, is that correct?
Yeah, what log number do you have that as?
30. Is it the one? It's the adult family home sprinkler system, right? It's number 33.
No, chapter 33 is the one that I was referring to.
Oh,
yeah. Which I would like to discuss that because Shamim is with us today, and so if we could probably just have a quick discussion on where we're at on that and kind of what the plan is.
You said chapter 33. You don't remember the log number, do you?
55.
55. Oh, okay. Oh, table for special order. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You gotta bear with me here.
No, that's okay.
I gotta jump between. I save everything to a jump drive so they pull up quicker and we don't have to wait. So that's why I got to jump around to so many pages. All right, we're good.
Okay, so just as a recap to this, and Ken, help me out if I'm off base on this, and Shameen, feel free to jump in. So 21, in the 21 cycle, there's a significant amount of changes or additions to that chapter. But what that did in the 21 cycle is it kind of jumbled it up and made it harder to navigate. So in the 24, they reworked it and restructured it to make all of those additions from the 18 easier to navigate. And so the proposal on the table for this log number is to basically go with the 24 to get out ahead of that adoption and make it easier to navigate when we adopt the 21. Do I have that right, Ken?
Yeah, you're right. 21 made significant changes, and then 24 just tried to organize it. Yes.
Got it. Okay. So we tabled that for a work group, and what I'd like to do, just because my schedule's been such that it has been very difficult for me to get time to take a look at it and put in the work that's needed. Is Shamim, would you be available if we set up a date, like if I sent you a calendar invite today for a specific date, that we could just sit down and spend an hour or two on this, as far as just reviewing what that would look like? Because I think that's the ultimate goal there, is to just go over it with kind of a fine tooth comb, if you will, and see if this is the route we want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. If I remember the discussion from a little over a month ago, I think there was some concern about what the changes in the 18 cycle were exactly. And also just to confirm that what's going on here doesn't bring up any other conflicts with what you have in the current edition of the state code. I'm more than happy to spend an hour or two, discussing with group members.
Okay, excellent.
Tony, if you'd like me to attend that, and I can make changes on the fly as we go, and then run them to the tag at the next, whenever, I can do that too. If you would like me there, I can help out as well.
Yeah, that would be great. How about after the meeting today, then Shamim, if you could give us some dates that you would be available, just shoot that over to Ray and myself. And then from there, we can find a time where we can meet up and tackle that. And then what we'll plan on doing is, here in the next meeting or two, depending on how many we have left here, then we'll go ahead and present that to the tag.
Sure, I'll send some times over to you.
Excellent, thank you so much. All right, is the tag good with that? Is there any concerns or questions on that? Okay, excellent. So that's where we're at with that. And Ken, are you good with that?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't have to participate. It's great.
You're getting an invite.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to a different log number then. Is there another one that we want to tackle now that is kind of a priority, or one we have on deck? Matt,
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
I do real quick, Tony. We reviewed this, and I didn't have any comments or notes on. Oh shoot! Damn it! Hold on. It was Dave's proposal on the reference standards. It was the log number 33. I'll pull it up here real quick. We've already reviewed it on the tag level, but I didn't have any comments or any notes, and I wanted to make sure that it was okay as written, or if we had any modifications that I didn't. I think it was one of the meetings I was gone, and I might not have transferred over anything. Does anybody remember?
The only reason I can think that we kept it open is if one of the log numbers we were working on was going to change the reference standards. And so maybe like a final look at the end to see if we needed to adjust the references. But I could be off base there. I'm just kind of talking out loud here.
I talked to John a little bit. He thought it went forward with no changes. Yeah, I just didn't get it logged in.
Is there anything keeping us from locking that in right now, or do we think we need to wait for a final till we're done with everything to make sure that all those are correct?
That's up to the tag. I can proceed however. If we like it the way it looks right now, unless you think it needs research.
Is this just going to be a correlation with another code anyways? Because what is it? What am I looking at? Just a definition here?
Yeah, this is when the legislature modified the language to allow the adult family homes to go from 6 to 8.
Oh.
So is this going to be hit up in more than just our code, right?
Could.
Yeah, it'll probably be like IRC, IBC as well.
Yeah, and there's going to be other ones. The State Farm Marshal is going to have reference and errors. I mean, it's going to be a lot of places, not just in the building codes.
Okay. And that was through legislation, right, Gabe?
Yes.
Not legislative amendment? Okay.
Yeah, so they allowed it to go to 8 occupants without sprinklers as long as they were had ability to move around. So,
okay, so I'll forward this to John and Stoyan and make sure that if they're working on any other codes that it gets put in there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Ray. Okay, so with that, are we jumping into, is there any others that we have on deck that we want to tackle?
I don't know where we left off and what we have left.
Okay. Are we still, did we have any representation for 33, log number 33, the adult family home sprinkler system? Or is that the one you were referring to?
That's one I was talking about, right? Yeah, it's 33.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the reference standard.
I said reference standard and I was mistaken.
Oh, got it. Well, now I'm all screwed up. Okay.
the discussion we had with the reference standards was, I believe the tag did approve it as we did, but also I had asked for consideration as an emergency rule. I don't know if we took action on that.
On which one, Dave?
On the reference standard proposal I put together.
See, it's kind of, we got, oh, it's 35. I'm sorry, I was, so I think I got some links backwards here. Let's see here. Let me see here. That was 33. Let's go to 35. Okay, here's 35. I got to double check these links. Might have had a couple backwards. Okay, I got the reference standards ones pulled up now.
Oh, that's one of them doesn't have Ken's name on
it. You're a funny man.
That's what I'm here for. So that's the one we discussed at dealing with the state elevator inspector. They're not recognizing any alternatives to hydraulic elevators requiring sprinklers, even though NFPA, everybody else basically said the hydraulic fuels are now logistically are considered combustible, but they really aren't going to burn readily. So the issues that we've had is trying to get rid of elevator or sprinklers in elevators, because typically during a fire operation, it's going to be the firefighters going to be in the elevators that the shunt ship's going to operate and shut the power off and put them into a situation. And for quite a number of years, the city of Spokane has not required, as long as the elevator shafts are built to meet the building code for proper separation, we have not required sprinklers in the elevator pits. And the state elevator inspector indicated that, well, if you change the rule, they were fine. But currently NFPA 13 says you have to have sprinklers in hydraulic elevator pits. So this is the answer to that. So we had the discussion that it made sense to move it forward. But we also, in my discussion, was it may be warranted to issue an emergency rule to be able to amend that sooner than later, just because of the impacts it's going to have to projects until we get the code updated. But basically putting sprinklers in that really aren't in areas are not necessary.
Okay, discussion.
My discussion is, so Ray, would we just ask to be on the next building code council agenda and with the proposal for emergency rule to change this 2018 section?
You can request an emergency rule at any time at a council meeting. I can make a note on this. Tony, this is something we can also bring up to the BFP on Friday to say we'd like to move forward with this with an emergency rule.
Okay, are you able to get that on the agenda then for Friday? Or no, it's too late for that, isn't it?
It's too late, but we're going to be reviewing all code change proposals,
okay.
and we can take it before the council and or BFP and say this has been requested as an emergency rule.
Okay, all right, and then that can be pushed to the council, and we can get that going.
Yeah, if the BFP decides to push it to council, well, anybody can present an emergency rule to the council level at any time. But yeah, it would just be taking it through some channels.
Okay, all right.
Is that how you would like me to note this?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go to standards.
Do we need to make a motion here specifically for that?
You could.
Well,
I don't think it would hurt.
Dave, is it your intention to be the one to author it and propose it?
That would be my intention, yes.
Yeah. So then I don't think the tag has to do anything, right? It's just up to Dave to put it together and.
Okay. Perfect.
Even though we can, he can say in his material that he discussed it with the tag and the tag supported it.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
This is Matt. Is there any way in which that, and forgive my my lack of familiarity with the L&I process, but is there any chance that their adopting language is going to reference a different section of NFPA 13, which will kind of present this as an at odds kind of?
It would not. The discussion we had with the chief elevator inspector and his couple of inspectors when we had our meetings was all the elevator code refers to is NFPA 13. So if we change the reference to not require the sprinklers for that part, or just not adopt that particular part of the code, then they basically stated that there's no conflict with their code and they'll be able to work with that directly.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Thanks.
Yeah, we want to make sure we got that covered.
Matt, when did you join us? You missed roll call.
Oh, we're traveling through. We came in at the tail end of the meeting minutes. We're traveling today, and I just wanted to see if I could log in as we're driving. So.
Thanks for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it. Okay, that sounds good then. I think we're good on that. Thanks for your work on that, Dave. Okay, so let's go ahead and just continue down the line here. So let's go with Ken, what do you think about 38, which is the...
So this is the fun one. I think what I tried to do here, and we'd have to pull it up, is everything that just got adopted at the state that went into effect, in July, might be included in all of this. So is there a way that we can do a comparison of what was just posted on the website a little while ago regarding on-demand mobile fueling? And I don't know if I can.
So what are you asking for?
So you know what got posted on the website with all the new requirements for on-demand mobile fueling? Just want to make sure that if there's any changes to that, because I was thinking that we were presenting this just in case something didn't pass. So we have our 2018 IFC sections, and I'm going to see what I can pull up here on. Seven, 570712. So let's see, what's the easiest way to do this? Pull up this, I'll pull up the state. We can run down.
Do you want me to, you want to share your screen, Ken? So you're asking?
Yeah, well, I was hoping we could somehow split screen this, but I don't know how everybody's going to be able to see it or not.
I don't know what the, let's see what I can do here. You're talking which WAC 51, 54A, 57?
Yeah, that would be the most recent one.
All right, let me see. Give me a second here and I will. $5,700.
And then we just make sure that we
put me to the test, Ken.
Yeah, because there might have been a little bit of a change. I'm trying to.
Are you guys seeing a split screen?
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Zoom's kind of goofy sometimes.
We can't see all of the document that you're mousing over right now.
That's here?
Better. Yep, now we're good.
Okay. So the first section, the coordination of permits. To
where we're at.
And if we look at the proposal, it is permits across multiple authorities having jurisdiction shall be coordinated for 121 through 124. So that one's okay. So that looks the same. 5201.
I'm getting my phone's over here blowing up that everybody's having problems with Zoom. So if by any chance we all get crashed out, let me know, or we'll know.
All right. Local authorities, commencing permits, permit record maintenance. Okay.
So we just want to make sure the numbers line up, Ken?
No, I think what I was trying to do is just making sure that in case it didn't get adopted in the 2018, that we made sure it got done in the 21, and it looks like we're going to be okay since it got done. Yeah, so this one, I would say, scrolling through it, there is no reason to move this one forward. So I could just, we could say withdrawn by the proponent. There's no reason to go forward because this has all been cleaned up, and this will move forward with the 21 code.
Excellent.
I'll just put that on the tracking log BFP. If we find something, we should get back up. All right, let's see here.
And then we'll just need to probably do the same with the next few that are on our list, just double checking.
Yeah, that's going to take us through log 43.
So this was 38, right? Which number did you say?
Yeah, that was 38. And now we would go to 39.
All right. Dang it. Okay, 39. I gotta. All right, let's do this again. This is when I miss WebEx. Okay. It was still mobile fuel, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So just continue in that whack.
Okay, let's see here.
So the 5707.2 mobile fueling vehicle. 2122. That's good. And then we did a type 1, type 2 chassis mounted.
Oops.
For each tank.
Sorry. I'm messing you guys all up. There we go.
So this proposal following through can also be withdrawn. We caught it all. So as a proponent, I withdraw this.
Be smartest in a second.
Hey, Matt, can you mute your mic, please?
What number was this one we just looked at right now, Ken?
I thought it was 39.
Okay.
I don't have that list up in front of me.
That was 39. So now we're on 40, log number 40, which is 57073.
If I don't reword these, I'll never know what we did. Okay, now we're on number 40.
Yeah, 5707.3 required documents. And it did get changed to 108.3. So yes, so that the only change, well, yeah, I'll wait for you to pull it up.
This one we just pulled up?
No, you want to pull up the one that's for 5707.3.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, you don't have to pull it up. I could just withdraw it.
Okay.
Just withdraw it because it's the same. We caught it.
I'm a mess here. Okay.
So the next, the next one would be 5707.3.4.
So we're withdrawing the log number 39 and 40.
Yep, 39 and 40 both can get withdrawn.
Okay.
And now we're going to be looking at 41.
Okay. And you also wanted this in there too. Whew.
So the next one is regarding the new tiered sites, and it did get covered, so we can withdraw this one too.
Okay, withdraw. $42.
Yeah, so night. So this one is the nighttime deliveries and just making sure we got the right whack in there, which we did. And we did delete the word deemed. So this would be another one that we can. And we crossed out also, yeah, the fire official too. We didn't have that in there. So yep, that one can be withdrawn.
I'm liking this. 43.
Safety codes. Okay, we did signs.
It's the same.
Yep, it's the same, so we can withdraw that one.
43.
And I think that's all of 57.
Cool.
I don't know, let's have to double check on that list.
I'll go down my.
Don't worry, I have something else to talk about after we figure out 57.
I think that's all of 57.
Okay, if that's all of 57, all right, what else do we have on the list then?
We have, we just did this one, so I got to make, let me see here. This is the rail system. Passenger rail, that's the one we just did, right? Oh, you did 49, Ken? That was passenger rail system and scope. Was that what we just did with Mark?
No.
Okay.
So I have one for chapter 48. Oh gosh. Okay.
No, 49. We did the 48.
Okay, but okay, so the 49. What the heck is that one?
Let's pull it up. Oh, it's chapter 48, but it's log number 49.
Oh, so what was I trying to? Oh, so yeah, we could probably withdraw this one because we're moving everything to chapter 49. Yeah, so this was just making sure we moved it. And since we've already discussed that we are moving it to chapter 49, we can withdraw this. I can withdraw this one.
All right. We got the 33 that we've already talked about.
Can we scroll up to where we left off on 57? And then right under that one is 50131, the fire safety plans, which is log 44. Are you okay with going over that one, Ken?
Yeah, we'll go over anyone.
Okay.
So I can just find it on my list.
Which log number, Tony?
44044.
I thought we did that one already. We revised it and we done it. You need to go over it again?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the log that was posted and it showed that it was blank. So.
Oh, do you want to pull it up just to make sure?
No, if we've already done it, then no, we're good. Just on the log that I have, it showed that we hadn't done that one yet.
Yeah, I got crossed up. I think that the log was one update wrong. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'll go off your log. You're good. Okay, go ahead. Keep scrolling.
Okay, let's see here. I believe it or not, I think we've done everything except for chapter 33.
If that is true, then if it's true that I do have something I need to share with the group to get their feedback.
Okay, I believe per my log We have done everything except for chapter 33.
Okay.
Great work, Ted.
Yeah.
So we have a current one that we've modified and moved forward to BFP. I was planning on presenting it at the BFP, some proposed changes to it, but I kind of wanted to get the groups, I don't know, any suggestions or just feedback on it prior to me presenting it. And if you go up, it's in chapter 3. It's that where we started working on and changing. It's the lithium battery stuff. And
Well, do you remember the log number, Ken?
if you show me the log, I'll see it. But yeah, I don't have the log number.
I gotcha.
I mean,
I'll just look for your name. You don't have too many submitted, so.
no, it should be easy to find. So it should be towards the top.
So we have 302 definitions, 321.
There it is. It's number 23.
Number 20.
So down to lithium batteries.
23. Okay. Do you want to look at what we modified? Oh, I'll get that.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, we want to look at what we modified, but then I want to present, after I had some discussions with Mark Chubb and a few other people regarding what's happening in this world, and seeing if we can move forward with a couple of proposed changes that are coming out in the 24 code, and seeing if we want to start it early or not here in Washington regarding lithium batteries. So we want to scroll through that really quick. What we did is we just renumbered it. And this is just the general storage requirements for lithium batteries. But are you allowing me to share my screen and I can kind of show that document with proposed changes?
All yours, Ken.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hold on. What are we on, Zoom?
Nothing fast happens on Zoom.
Yeah, let me I have to minimize you, move stuff over. Oh my gosh, come on. Why can I not do this? There we go. Okay, let's do the share screen first. And we'll share this screen. And we'll find that proposal.
I think you're sharing the wrong screen, Ken.
We'll get there.
Okay.
If I can get this to move over, but it won't, of course. Fine, we'll do this. Okay, let's see if I can blow it up. All right, now do you guys see it?
You're good, Ken.
Okay, so I color coded some changes here, so we'll go down. All right, so in the 2024 code change proposals, and they're at the public comment section now. The public comments actually is closed now. And what I've done is taken in the proposed code change that's already gone through, and then also some of it got approved as submitted already by the committee. No, they haven't gotten voted on by the body yet, but it appears we're going in that direction. And the reason I want to move this forward is because this is something that's happening here in Washington State regarding powered micromobility devices, and also it includes powered industrial trucks. And the other thing that I had a meeting about was robotics. There is a certain large company that is proposing and started using robotics, and they are battery powered. So we're looking at trying to get ahead of the curve, get this presented now to the BFP, and then by the time we get to our public comment section, which will be early next year, we'll know for sure if it got approved probably by the overall body for the 24 code. Then we'll have it in the 21 code kind of ahead of the curve so we can start addressing it. So I've taken their proposal and added a few things. So the first is the powered micromobility device. What is that? And it includes the motorcycle, bicycles, the scooters, personal mobility devices powered by a rechargeable battery. That was one of the proposed changes, is it did have lithium ion or lithium metal battery. And one of the public comments was, no, let's just make sure it's just a rechargeable battery. And then it also, the definition doesn't include motor vehicles that are registered with the Department of Motor Vehicles for the state or jurisdiction. So with that, we go down to 323 section, which talks about powered micro mobility devices. And I added, and this is me on my own, added and powered industrial trucks, because there is issues with these type of forklifts that are battery powered, rechargeable. And we don't have any regulations with those with regards to, at least my understanding is with regards to separation where we're parking them, separation from combustible materials, and just trying to include them into the list of devices here. Besides micromobility devices, I added and powered industrial trucks. Now I'm willing to not, I'm willing not to fall on my sword over that one. If we want to just look at just the 2024 language, which is in blue, you know, that's fine. And not include the powered industrial trucks. That's fine. So the general section of the powered micromobility devices, which is proposed, basically says shall be operated and maintained in accordance with this section, and then some exceptions. The exception is storage, repair, and charging in residential occupancies of, and it in the first change proposal in 24 said not more than 5 battery powered mobility devices, provided that such devices are for personal use by its owner. One of the public comments was, in the committee said, why are we putting a limit on these things? If it's in a residential occupancy and I have, you know, 6 or 7 of these for personal use, we shouldn't limit these. So that's the reason that that's scratched. It won't show that. It will just say residential occupancies. And it won't have the not more than 5 batteries. So that was removed by public comment. That's the proposal. And then, or charging of a single powered one in any occupancy by its owner. Those are exempted from this section. Prohibited locations, we don't want them, the use of residential occupancy as a business for charging, for commercially owned powered mobility devices as part of a rental sales service not be permitted. Again, this is something that was proposed in the 24 code, got through committee already. There was a lot of, there's some side businesses that people were grabbing these scooters and bringing them back to their house, and they would fill up their house or their garage or their apartment with all of these scooters and plug them in and charge them, which was causing a hazard. And that's what was identified to say, no, don't do that. The battery chargers and equipment just shall be used in accordance with their listing and the manufacturer's instructions. And then there is a UL listing. It's listed below that, 2272 or 2849, whichever is applicable. The battered charging areas where we're actually charging them. This is where it talks about specific rooms. Again, only listed devices utilizing listed charging equipment shall be permitted to be charged, that they have sufficient electrical outlets, storage of combustible materials, combustible waste or hazardous materials not be permitted, can't obstruct the means of egress, removable storage batteries should not be stacked or charged in an enclosed cabinet unless the cabinet is specifically designed and approved for that use. 18 inches shall be maintained between each removable battery storage during charging operations unless each battery is isolated. And 18 inches should be maintained between the locations of the batteries on each powered micromobility device or powered industrial truck during charging operations. And again, I added powered industrial trucks. And the locations of the batteries on, that was something that was added as a public comment, just for clarity. A fire safety plan, which I don't know how many people are, double checking and requiring these things, but fire safety plan. And then the update to chapter 80 with the reference standards that was listed. And I think, yeah, so that was it. So basically I'm trying to take a 2024 code change proposal for powered micromobility devices and including it into this chapter that we already started discussing, section 322, but then including into 323, and just looking for any feedback, what you guys think, and I'll be quiet now.
Would we need a definition for powered industrial truck, or is that a pretty?
It's already in the fire code, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I'm going to double check while
it is. I have it up right here, Ken.
Okay.
It's in there as a forklift, tractor, platform lift truck, or motorized hand truck powered by an electric motor.
Okay.
Or internal combustion engine. So. Okay.
I don't remember seeing it.
So open for discussion.
Yeah, this is Corey. Yeah, Ken, I think this is great. I've got these things running all over Renton. Yeah. Yeah, and more coming every day.
Yeah, Mark Chubb and I met on this a while ago, and I ran through it, and there's so much more that we're not addressing, but we're trying to get as much as we can, and to try to get this in the code earlier in Washington is going to be better than waiting until 26 or 27 when we adopt the 24.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you cut and paste that 323, section 323 to me in an email real quick? And I'll just
what I'm going to quickly do here is
send it to me.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Then I'll just cut and paste it, and then I'll just put it on our proposal right now, and we can approve it and everything's updated. That's me.
It's you. Yeah, so it's going to have to get cleaned up just a little bit to include up here in the section in the title, which we can do together after this. But
okay, I just like the tag to see what I'm going to actually put on paper for the approval.
So I just want to make sure is everybody comfortable with moving forward with also the powered industrial trucks, since I just want to make sure.
So if there's any other comment or discussion on this, or anyone is against it, then now's the time to speak up.
I agree. I'd rather have something to use than to make it all up. So I'm on the same page.
Okay, excellent. Well, that sounds good. Ray, do we need to, just for sticking with the rules, do we need to have the person who made the original motion withdraw that in order to include this into as the new proposal we're pushing for log 23?
I don't believe we do, because we have not made any formal. We have a quorum. We have it's been pushed to BFP. There hasn't been any formal decision made other than the tag to push it to BFP. So if there was any conflict, they could bring it up at the BFP meeting.
Okay. So do we need a motion to push this then instead of our previous one?
This is Quinn here. I do have a small, I think, grammatical thing on that line where the cursor is. Powered industrial trucks, scroll down on 323.4, where it says, and powered industrial trucks shall permitted to be charged. Should be are permitted to be charged, or is permitted? Shall be permitted. So it just didn't seem right the way it was originally worded.
Okay. It shall be, or is? Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah, that's horrible language.
Yeah, that stood out for me. That's why I brought it up. I was thinking are permitted to be charged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Well, just the paragraph or the lines below that say shall be permitted, shall not be permitted. So I think the shall be permitted would be fine. Consistent.
Okay, to be consistent with, okay. We'll just do shall be. Ray, have you pulled up the document yet so you can make that change?
I'm working on things right now. Let's see here.
You want me just to resend it with this change?
Oh, no. I'd rather just, I'm almost done. That's okay. So this is, so I'm noticing, so it's going to be after. .322.4.3.322.4.
Would this be a design or an inspection tool?
Yes.
Some of it reads a little bit like the police, because you've got it. So you've got an affordable housing. You've got a laundry room and a central room where people are going to be charging their various mobility equipment devices. Who's in charge of? Is a landlord now all of a sudden in charge of making sure they stack things 18 inches apart, or following the prescriptive code, or is that? Does the fire marshal obliged to make a visit to that facility every 6 months? Just throwing that out there for scope and applicability and how it'll be implemented.
So I would look at this as the same way that you would implement the storage of motorcycles, to repair them inside of residential occupancy, other things that are already in the fire code. It's just another, ultimately the building owner is going to be responsible for complying with the code, and then the fire code official gets to make the decision of how they're going to enforce it in their specific areas. So I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis on how it's going to get enforced in different areas. I mean, that's my opinion on it. There's not a permitting requirement on here. So it's just another operations type requirement that's in the fire code. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. There's a lot of things that are applied to residential occupancies that the fire code official gets to determine how they're going to enforce it.
Yeah, just curious as far as whether or not
it's tough.
Building.
Can we stop sharing your screen for a second?
Absolutely.
If mine was just a general thought of and how people would know about it and perhaps be able to plan for that requirement in the building design phase, like a central laundry room, a central battery charging space, stuff like that.
Well, generally in a residential occupancy, these are designed for you to buy them, to plug them into your regular outlet and charge it. There shouldn't be, a big deal. And I don't think you have to design anything specifically. It's not like the EV charging stations for vehicles and all the specific requirements for those. This is, I just see it as being different. The powered industrial trucks, that would be more of a design issue for commercial buildings, that they would have to make sure they saw this and they designed it correctly. That's how I see it. I don't see, the powered mobility devices, there might be a place that services them or sells them. Then they have a separate charging area that they might want to look at complying with this.
So prior to the pandemic, I remember reading articles about the Lime bikes and Lime scooters, how the company itself kind of asked or hired third parties to grab these Lime bikes and Lime scooters, take it home, charge it, and there was usually fights over them, right? So, and a lot of them would have like 10 of them, 15 of them charging at their own home. So I wonder, is this something that would try to address something like that?
Well, and it kind of does. So that's what the 323.1.1 prohibited locations says: the use of a residential occupancy as a business for charging of commercially owned powered mobility devices or industrial trucks as part of a rental or sales service should not be permitted. So it just says, yeah, you can't do that. You can charge your own personal ones, no problem, but we don't want you taking them, 10, 20, 30, 40 of them, bringing them all in.
I guess my biggest question mark and concern would be how enforceable is it? Because usually those are like overnight and they're gone by the next morning.
Well, and that's the whole thing. There's a whole thing that, look at spray finishing. I'm not supposed to be doing spray finishing in my garage, but a lot of the fire code comes down to enforcement and how are you going to enforce it? How are you going to catch somebody? And boy, if you had enough time to drive around and enforce every part of the fire code, then you got a great staff. But it's just basically just another provision of the fire code that's a safety regulation that you want to make people aware of. And if you have, like City of Seattle, we have our client assistant memos, which we would be, putting out there about powered mobility devices and throwing out the parameters and getting it out to the public to say, hey, this is what the fire code says. You can do this, but you can't do that. And then watching people see if they comply or not. Look at fireworks.
Yeah.
Have fun enforcing those regulations.
Don't insurance companies use the code quite a bit too?
I couldn't answer for them on that.
Okay. I have a couple. Now, where was that part that we changed the shall? Do you remember what number that was?
323.4.
323.4. Shall, and what did we say? What did we change it to?
Shall be permitted.
Okay. And I just have a couple questions if the tag's done. So this is going to be a definition, right?
What's going to be a definition?
Okay.
Powered micromobility devices.
Yeah. All right. Do that. And these are just my own notes. So when I put it in code, I know where to put it. Was there any other changes that we made on the fly here? Would this be at the end?
There was no other changes besides adding in that shall be. Yeah, I think, that was it. There was no other changes, but I'll tune up the explanation to talk about the public comment that was done, or I'll present it at the BFP.
If you want to bring this up, Ken, you can. I don't see the big problem, but I foresee with the staffing that we have for the BFP, I kind of see the BFP doing a quick rundown and just pushing it to council without a lot of talk on each proposal. Unless you're more than welcome, as a public meeting, more than welcome to bring it up if you'd like.
Well, no, I'll just be there to answer questions.
Okay.
But I don't expect to. There's no. I mean, the BFP didn't hold any meetings, so there's no way they can go through all of the proposals and actually read and look at them.
Well, we're also down to 3 members, so 2 makes a quorum. So there's a good chance there's going to be 2 people at the BFP. So,
but in the past, if there was something that had public comment at the BFP, we kind of went through it. There's also a big chance that we'll take the tag recommendation and let's forward it to council.
But we all know the council normally takes the recommendation of the tag and the BFP, and they're just going to push them forward also.
And that's Now that we're done with them, start putting this into code language, and so everybody can view the document that we'll put into rulemaking, and we can.
You're breaking up quite a bit there, Ray. We're not able to hear you, or at least I'm not on my end. Okay, well, maybe once Ray gets back, looks like he got kicked out. So, so I don't know that we necessarily need I never did get an answer from Ray whether we need a motion for this.
I would like it to get a motion in a second, just so we can just, you know, if I got to do a public comment on this later on, I can say, well, it was moved in second and moved forward with these proposed changes.
Okay, yeah.
I'll go ahead and make a motion for it then.
Thank you, Quinn.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Corey. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
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 Thank you. Any against? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
So you all realize that I'm going to have all the line bikes. Somebody's going to take them and pile them up on my front doorstep of my house just to mess with me now.
Do you have all of the charging stations with you there?
Yeah, I'll just throw out all my extension cords, plug it into my my natural gas generator, and charge everything up.
Nice. Okay, let's see if Ray is going to be able to get back on here. All right, so let's do this. Let's go to, is there anything else that anyone wants to talk about as far as the log numbers that have been submitted?
Did we finish that underground one? I think we did, right?
We did, yeah.
Okay. And then, and the one that I got beat up on, chapter 9, did we finish? That had the underground in it too, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it was all one proposal,
Okay.
and that was the last piece of it.
Got it, okay.
I'm just doing a quick scan of the one I have just to make sure. Okay, and then are we going to be, do we have anything else left on the commercial cooking operations? Is there anything else we need to talk about on that or discuss, or did we finish that up?
Gosh, I thought we finished it up.
Okay.
We got all the NICET language in there.
Yeah. And remind me too, is that one that we're wanting to do an emergency rule on?
I don't think that was the direction we're going, because we wanted to make sure everybody had lots of time to adapt to it. Remember, we were talking about pushing it out, having an effective date.
Yeah.
So what I was being big bad Seattle, I was going to see if our department wanted to push it forward now. So early, before the 21 code, and maybe we can get it implemented in Seattle and get most of the people that already get the certifications. So we might not have to have a pushed out effective date if Seattle goes forward with it. I can't make any promises, because of course, you know, we'll get the brunt of all the complaints, but yeah, I just want to see what if our department wants to go in that direction or not. And if they do, then I'll have a code change errata towards the end of this year to change our 2018 Seattle Fire Code with this language. So that's, I'm going to run that through our Fire Code Advisory Board, run it through our staff, see if that's the direction we want to go in, or if we want to wait till this 21 code.
Okay. All right. I don't, Ray's having trouble jumping back on, and so, but I would like to double check that one, but I can do that with him after the meeting. So let's go to, unless anyone else has anything on the change proposals, then I'm going to go move to other business. So I'll open it up now for anything further on change proposals. Okay, excellent. So let's go to agenda item number 5, which is other business. So that is one of the things I did want to touch on in other business is just what the state of the BFP committee is right now, because there's Ray, just to catch you up, we jumped to other business. So we finished up the change proposals. I'll chat with you after the meeting on log number 50, just to make sure that we're good on the certifications for 904 in the fire code. So, but in other business, the BFP committee is down to 3 active members, and we will be meeting Friday. So if anyone wants to come in and chat about their proposal specifically, that would be the time for that. So, and there will probably be 2 of us there, so to make up the quorum. So that'll be interesting. Okay, is there anything else for other business?
I was hoping that Dave, could you give us an update on the 2701 stuff? You guys had a meeting last week, I think.
I had a couple meetings. Yeah, we had a good meeting with a lot of different people. Found out actually that some of the people in the meeting were the ones who helped author the 2701 language. So that was a good background. I think that in general, there was a union-backed group that was trying to make sure that all the people who are doing the inspections were union. That did not go over well with a lot of the other people in the meeting, but we ended up calming everybody down. I had to kind of put my foot down a couple of times to get people to work a little bit more professional. We created 2 subcommittees. One of them is going to basically work on the credentialing. There was discussion that the credentials that were in the RCW were available to everybody, and nobody else could find it. You had to be part of this union to be able to do the testing that they were basically offering. There is a separate group that's outside of that is working on the credentialing to make it available for everybody. So there's another activities going on outside of this committee, but that we broke a group into that committee working on the credentialing to work on that language. We had a draft proposal that Fire Marshal Association put together. Both John Napier and Karen Grove did the language for that, and the remainder others, the other subcommittee will be working on that language to see about what we would want to do to be able to move forward to get legislative support and get the RCW basically removed and modified to send this to rulemaking for the State Building Code Council, which it should have been done in the first place.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that.
We're meeting every other week, so the meetings are open, and I'll try and get some things posted on the Fire Marshal website, but the Fire Marshals are kind of taking the rough lead on it, and a lot of people are mostly participating by listening in, but we do have some people who have some very strong opinions about what should be done with this, so we'll be interested to see how this progresses forward.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Dave. Okay, anything else for other business? All right, I do have one thing that I just want to touch on, and I think Ray mentioned it in the beginning. I can't remember if we were on record or not, but there are some things with the WUI code that are going to be brought to the attention of the SP or the council on the 17th. Is that correct, Ray?
That's correct.
Okay. So there's some language in the RCW that how it's written and what the intent was are kind of 2 different things as far as adopting the WUI, whether that's a state adoption or per each jurisdiction. And so there is an effort to clean some of that up. So if anyone has experience with using the maps or wants to chime in on that conversation, the council meeting on the 17th of September would be a good one to be at and weigh in on that. So, and Ray, if you want to add anything go, feel free.
No, it's just, I think what just as branch off, I think the intent was to get a WUI code in the state, get adopted by the state, and the RCW kind of states that the cities and counties and jurisdictions can adopt portions thereof. So I talked to Stoyan a little bit today. What I'm trying to do is trying to find a way to make the WUI code an adopted state code, and then a jurisdiction can still follow the RCW and adopt the portions thereof that they want to adopt. So we're kind of running some. It's just, I think intent and legislation are they kind of like we run into it quite often are kind of button heads. So we're trying to find the best way with the best interpretation to give these cities and counties guidance.
Spokane just adopted the full WUI, and we have been working with the maps as well. So we have them as an overlay onto our GIS. So we have already taken that moving forward.
I agree, Dave. I think that's a great approach that a lot of cities and counties, I would hope take, but there's a lot of them that are really pushing hard against us to not adopt it.
Yeah, Dave, do you have, how's that map look on the overlay for your guys' GIS? I'm curious because the map that I was looking at, and I very well could have not been using it correctly, but it just looks like it's not extremely accurate as far as where those lines are drawn.
Right, it is a little pixelated, and that's something that we're going to be cleaning up with our GIS, is defining that. I think that's probably the biggest thing. We just want to get it adopted and following the language of the code per the map that was shown by DNR. But we'll be providing some definitions of, okay, well, we're going to pick a street, we're going to pick the city boundary, how are we going to do some of these things so we know which ones are in which. So it's adopted, we just need to clarify some of that on there. And our GIS people are working with us on that.
Cool. Okay, so you're doing that at the local level as far as defining that boundary.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
It's something that I might do, Tony, as well as I might reach out to DNR, the people that I work with when the mapping came out, and ask them to attend the council meeting and maybe let them give a description of how the maps work and what, because DNR was under the impression that they're the lead on the WUI code. I told, well, we got to adopt it. So they tried to meet all their legislative mandates to get those maps out as quickly as possible. And they know them better than anybody. So maybe we can invite them to the council meeting. That would help clarify some stuff to the cities and counties.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds great. Maybe they have something in the works too, kind of define those lines a little better too. I don't know. So yeah, that'd probably be someone good to have in that meeting. So
I work with DNR twice now on 2 different code sections, and they're great to work with. They're very passionate about what they do. And they're actually, now that we have a tsunami code through them and a WUI code that's tied with them, they're going to put an SBCC link or a code link on their website for people that are searching for those things, so we can share data.
Excellent. Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Anything else for other business? Okay, excellent. With that, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you everyone for showing up and participating today. You guys have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Good luck on Friday.
Thanks, Ken.